Hey YouTube, I wanted to give you a little gear update. I finally got some new gear. I'm like the king of cheap gear, so I'm finally starting to get some cool stuff and I wanted to share it with you here. So I'm going to show you some stuff here. The first thing that I found is these amazing picks. Now picks are kind of cheap, right? Like you wouldn't think I'd be so excited about picks, man, but these picks are just like sweet. It just makes it so easy to play the guitar. I don't know. I've heard sometimes if you're in a rut with your playing, changing picks can really help. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I was telling you about these picks. You know, it's weird. It just seems like it opens up my playing a little bit. They're not so narrow. You know, I had these really cheap picks that I was using. Like I said, I have a lot of cheap gear. And this pick, right? It's okay, but it's so long, so narrow. These little, like, I don't know, these picks here make it a lot easier. It just seems like I'm just moving all up and down the fretboard. Also, on one of my other videos, I mentioned I was going to start working on some speed picking. And these things just almost seem designed for it. So something so subtle like the pick is actually pretty important. But now I'm going to show you what I'm really excited about. I got something called a Boss ME80, and a friend of mine has one. I borrowed his maybe 6 months ago. But the weird thing about borrowing gear is you don't really learn it until it's yours, you know. So now I got my own, and I got to figure it out though. There's like a bunch of different pedals in one, and you know, most of my pedals are like hand-me-downs from other people, which is cool. But what you pay for, sometimes you master. So I'm looking forward to fooling around with this thing. It should be a lot of fun. So anyway, I'm gonna try to break out of the rut. Let me see if I get this thing to flip around here. I am having one small problem. I think my old computer is finally crashing, but I've had it for years. I've had this computer for like 10 years. So I don't know. I should be more upset about it than I am, but that's what happens when you go too long with an old computer. I think it's finally dying on me, which really stinks. But anyway, so that's what I got. One of these days, maybe I'll talk about my gear. This little amp here that I've had for 6 or 7 years has been a great little practice amp, but the next thing is going to be a tube amp. Most of my jams I actually make on this because you can record, but it's like part of the reason my jams are repetitive is this thing's got like a 45-second loop. So yeah, I'll walk you through my gear some other time, but at least now I got something fresh to liven up my videos with.